I never thought I'd be sharing my story on Reddit, but here I am. My name is Rebecca, 32F, and my life has taken a series of unexpected turns that I'm still struggling to process. It all started when my beloved grandmother, Evelyn, 78F, passed away 3 months ago. She wasn't just my grandmother, she was my rock, my confidant, and my best friend. Evelyn raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was just 8 years old. She was a strong, independent woman who had built a successful real estate business from the ground up. Despite the tragedy that brought us together, she made sure I had a loving and stable childhood. We spent countless evenings baking cookies, tending to her prized rose garden, and sharing stories about her youth. She taught me the value of hard work, integrity, and always being true to myself. As I grew older, our relationship evolved. We became more like friends, sharing our hopes, dreams, and fears. I confided in her about my struggles in school, my first heartbreak, and my career aspirations. She was always there with a warm hug and words of wisdom that seemed to make everything better. When I graduated college and landed my first job at a marketing firm, Evelyn was there in the front row, beaming with pride. She even helped me put a down payment on my first apartment, insisting that it was an investment in my future. That was just the kind of person she was, always thinking of others and how she could help them succeed. Her passing left a void in my life that I'm still trying to fill. The pain is raw, and there are days when I catch myself reaching for the phone to call her, only to remember she's gone. It's during these moments that I miss her the most. In the midst of my grief, I received news that Evelyn had left behind a substantial inheritance for me and my cousins, Mark, 35M, and Sarah, 29F. To be honest, I didn't care much about the money. I would trade every penny just to have one more conversation with her, to hear her laugh one more time, or to feel her comforting embrace. The inheritance has brought out the worst in my cousins. Growing up, we were never particularly close. Mark and Sarah's parents, my aunt and uncle, were always a bit resentful of the close relationship I had with Evelyn. They felt she favored me, which created a wedge between us cousins from an early age. Now, with the inheritance in play, that old resentment has bubbled to the surface. Mark and Sarah seem to think that I'm going to get the lion's share of Evelyn's estate, and they're determined to make my life miserable because of it. They've been spreading rumors within the family, claiming that I manipulated Evelyn in her final years to secure a larger portion for myself. It's hurtful and couldn't be further from the truth. What they don't understand is that Evelyn and I shared a bond that went beyond material possessions. She was the one who held my hand through my first heartbreak when my high school boyfriend cheated on me. She was there to celebrate with me when I landed my dream job at a prestigious advertising agency. And she was my shoulder to cry on when I went through a painful divorce 5 years ago. Speaking of my ex-husband, Jason, 34M, that's another complication in this mess. We met in college and fell head over heels for each other. He was charming, ambitious, and seemed to complement me perfectly. Evelyn adored him at first, but as the years went by, she started to notice things that I was too blinded by love to see. Our marriage started to crumble about 3 years in. Jason became increasingly focused on climbing the corporate ladder, often at the expense of our relationship. He'd work late nights, miss important events, and when he was home, he was always distracted by work emails or phone calls. I tried to be understanding, but I felt like I was losing my partner. Evelyn was the one who finally opened my eyes to the reality of my situation. She gently pointed out how unhappy I had become and encouraged me to stand up for myself. It was her support that gave me the strength to confront Jason about our issues and ultimately file for divorce when it became clear that he wasn't willing to change. Now, in a twist that I never saw coming, Jason has resurfaced. He reached out to me last week, expressing his condolences about Evelyn and asking to meet up for coffee. At first, I thought he was genuinely concerned, but then he started asking questions about the inheritance. It became clear that he was fishing for information, probably hoping there might be something in it for him. I'm hurt and angry that he would try to take advantage of my grief like this. It's a stark reminder of why our marriage fell apart in the first place. His actions have only added to the stress and emotional turmoil I'm already dealing with. To make matters worse, my cousin seemed to have formed an alliance with Jason. I overheard a phone conversation between Mark and Jason where they were discussing strategies to contest the will. It feels like I'm being attacked from all sides, and the one person I would turn to for advice is no longer here. I'm trying to stay strong and honor Evelyn's memory by handling this situation with the grace and dignity she always exemplified. But it's hard. There are moments when I feel overwhelmed by the betrayal and greed surrounding me. I've been throwing myself into work, trying to distract myself from the family drama. My colleagues have noticed that something's off, but I'm not ready to share the full extent of what's happening. It feels too personal, too raw. In the quiet moments, when I'm alone with my thoughts, I find myself wondering what Evelyn would do in this situation. She'd always had a way of cutting through the noise and getting to the heart of the matter. I can almost hear her voice telling me to stay true to myself and not let others' actions dictate my own. As I navigate this challenging time, I'm trying to focus on the positive memories I have with Evelyn. I've started a journal where I write down all the little things I remember about her, the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled, her famous apple pie recipe, the sound of her humming as she worked in her garden. It's helping me process my grief and reminding me of the values she instilled in me. I know I need to address the situation with my cousins and ex-husband head-on, but I'm not sure how to proceed. Part of me wants to confront them about their behavior, to make them see how hurtful and disrespectful their actions are, not just to me but to Evelyn's memory. Another part of me wants to take the high road, to handle everything through legal channels and minimize my direct interactions with them. For now, I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm focusing on honoring Evelyn's legacy by living the values she taught me: kindness, integrity, and resilience. I'm determined not to let this inheritance drama tarnish the beautiful memories I have of her or the lessons she imparted. As I sit here, surrounded by photo albums and mementos of our time together, I can't help but feel a mix of sadness and gratitude. Sadness for the loss of such an incredible woman, and gratitude for having had her in my life for as long as I did. Whatever happens with the inheritance, I know that the real treasure is the love and wisdom Evelyn shared with me. That's something no one can take away. Update 1: It's been a month since my last post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone who offered kind words and advice. Your support has been a bright spot during this challenging time. The situation with my cousins, Mark and Sarah, has escalated beyond anything I could have imagined. Last week, we had the official reading of Evelyn's will at her lawyer's office. As we all suspected, Evelyn left the majority of her estate to me, including control of her real estate business. She did leave substantial amounts to Mark and Sarah, but nowhere near what they were expecting. The moment the lawyer finished reading the will, chaos erupted. Sarah burst into tears, dramatically accusing me of manipulating Evelyn. Mark, red-faced with anger, started shouting about how unfair it was and threatened to contest the will. It was a scene straight out of a bad movie, and I felt embarrassed for them. What hurt the most wasn't their reaction to the inheritance, but the things they said about my relationship with Evelyn. They accused me of being a gold digger and claimed that I had isolated Evelyn from the rest of the family in her final years. Nothing could be further from the truth. Evelyn chose to spend time with me because we genuinely enjoyed each other's company. We had shared interests and values that went beyond family obligation. I tried to reason with them, reminding them of all the times Evelyn had been there for them too. I mentioned the lavish wedding gift she gave Sarah, and how she had helped Mark with a down payment on his house. But they were too blinded by greed and resentment to listen. The most shocking moment came when Sarah revealed that she and my ex-husband, Jason, had been secretly dating for the past 6 months. She spat it out like a weapon, clearly hoping to hurt me. And I'll admit, it did sting. Not because I still had feelings for Jason, but because of the betrayal from both of them. I took a deep breath, remembering Evelyn's advice about maintaining dignity in difficult situations. I calmly told them that I hoped they would be happy together, and that I wished them well. The look of disappointment on their faces when they realized their revelation hadn't had the desired effect was almost comical. After the reading, I retreated to Evelyn's house, now my house, to process everything that had happened. As I sat in her favorite armchair, surrounded by her belongings, I felt a wave of determination wash over me. I realized that I needed to step up and take control of the situation, just as Evelyn would have done. The next day, I called a family meeting. I invited Mark, Sarah, their parents, and even Jason. I wanted to clear the air and set some boundaries moving forward. To my surprise, they all showed up. I started by acknowledging their hurt and disappointment. I reminded them of the wonderful woman Evelyn was and how she would be devastated to see her family torn apart like this. Then, I laid out my plans for the future. I explained that I intended to honor Evelyn's wishes by taking over the real estate business. I offered Mark and Sarah positions in the company if they were interested, making it clear that they would need to earn their place just like any other employee. I also proposed setting up a family foundation in Evelyn's name, using a portion of the inheritance to support causes she cared about. Their reactions were mixed. My aunt and uncle seemed relieved that I was extending an olive branch. Mark remained skeptical but didn't outright reject the idea. Sarah and Jason, however, were unmoved. They accused me of trying to buy their loyalty and stormed out of the meeting. After everyone left, I felt a strange sense of peace. I had done what I could to mend fences, and now the ball was in their court. I knew Evelyn would be proud of how I handled the situation. The following week, I dove headfirst into learning about the real estate business. Evelyn had left detailed notes and instructions, and her longtime assistant, Martha, 55F, has been incredibly helpful in showing me the ropes. It's been challenging but rewarding work, and I feel closer to Evelyn as I follow in her footsteps. To my surprise, Mark reached out a few days ago. He apologized for his behavior at the will reading and expressed interest in the position I had offered. We're meeting next week to discuss the details. I'm cautiously optimistic about this development. Sarah and Jason, on the other hand, have been spreading malicious gossip about me and the family and on social media. It's hurtful, but I'm trying not to let it get to me. I've blocked them on all platforms and asked mutual friends not to relay their messages to me. As for the inheritance itself, I've decided to use a significant portion to set up a scholarship fund in Evelyn's name at the local community college. Education was always important to her, and I know this would make her happy. The first scholarships will be awarded next fall, and I'm excited to see the impact it will have on deserving students. There's still a long road ahead, but I feel like I'm finally starting to find my footing. Evelyn's strength and wisdom continue to guide me, and I'm determined to make her proud. I miss her every day, but I'm grateful for the legacy she left me, not just in terms of material wealth, but in the values and love she instilled in me. Update 2. It's been 3 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some significant developments in my situation. Life has a way of surprising us, and the past few months have certainly been full of unexpected twists and turns. First, the good news: Mark has been working at the real estate company for the past 2 months, and I'm pleased to say it's going better than I expected. There was some initial awkwardness, but we've managed to establish a professional relationship. He's shown a genuine interest in learning the business, and has even come up with some innovative ideas for expanding our market reach. It's not all smooth sailing, we still have our disagreements, but we're learning to communicate better and focus on our shared goal of honoring Evelyn's legacy. Now, for the more complicated part. Remember how Sarah and Jason had been dating? Well, that relationship imploded spectacularly. About a month ago, Sarah showed up at my door in tears. She confessed that Jason had only been using her to try and get information about the inheritance. Apparently, he thought she might have insider knowledge that could help him contest the will. I was torn between feeling vindicated and feeling sorry for Sarah. Despite our differences, she's still my cousin, and I could see how devastated she was. In a moment of compassion, or perhaps temporary insanity, I invited her in for a cup of tea. We ended up talking for hours, really talking, for the first time in years. Sarah opened up about her insecurities and jealousy towards me, stemming from childhood. She'd always felt like she was living in my shadow, especially when it came to Evelyn's affection. It was a breakthrough moment for both of us. While it didn't erase all the hurt of the past few months, it was a start towards rebuilding our relationship. As for Jason, his true colors have well and truly shown. He's been going around town, badmouthing me to anyone who will listen. He's even tried to contact some of the clients of the real estate business, spreading lies about the company's financial stability. Thankfully, most people see through his desperation, but it's still a headache I didn't need. On a brighter note, the scholarship fund I set up in Evelyn's name is already making a difference. We awarded the first round of scholarships last month, and meeting the recipients was incredibly moving. One young woman, in particular, reminded me so much of Evelyn with her determination and kindness. It felt like a sign that I'm on the right path. The Family Foundation is also up and running. We've partnered with a local animal shelter. Evelyn was always a huge animal lover and funded the construction of a new wing to house more rescued pets. Seeing Evelyn's name on the building brought tears to my eyes, but they were happy tears this time. Running the real estate business has been a steep learning curve, but I'm starting to find my groove. Martha, Evelyn's assistant, has been an absolute godsend. She's patient with my questions and always seems to know just what Evelyn would do in any given situation. We've even started having weekly lunch dates where she shares stories about Evelyn that I've never heard before. It's like getting little pieces of my grandmother back, one anecdote at a time. There have been moments of doubt, times when I've wondered if I'm cut out for all of this responsibility. But then I'll catch a glimpse of Evelyn's photo on my desk, or remember one of her sage pieces of advice, and I feel reinvigorated. I'm doing this for her, but I'm also doing it for myself, growing in ways I never thought possible. As for my personal life, I've been so focused on the business and family drama that dating hasn't even been on my radar. But last week, I bumped into an old friend from college, Alex, 33M, at a local coffee shop. We got to talking, and before I knew it, hours had passed. It was nice to connect with someone who knew me before all this inheritance drama, someone who sees me for who I am, not what I've inherited. We've made plans to meet up again next week, and I'm looking forward to it. Looking back on the past few months, I'm amazed at how much has changed. There's still tension with some family members, and Jason continues to be a thorn in my side, but overall, I feel like I'm finally finding my footing. Evelyn's legacy is more than just the material things she left behind, it's the strength and resilience she instilled in me. I'm determined to make her proud, not just by running the business successfully, but by living up to the values she taught me. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I'm happy to report that things have continued to improve, although not without a few bumps along the way. The real estate business is thriving. Mark and I have found a good rhythm working together, and our different perspectives often lead to creative solutions. Last month, we closed a deal on a major commercial property that Evelyn had been pursuing for years. It felt like a sign that we were on the right track. Sarah has been making efforts to repair our relationship. She's been coming to family dinners and even volunteered to help with the scholarship fund. It's still a bit awkward at times, but I can see she's genuinely trying. Last week, she confided in me about a job opportunity she's considering in another city. I was surprised to find myself feeling a little sad at the thought of her moving away. We've come a long way from where we were a year ago. Jason finally backed off after I had my lawyer send him a cease and desist letter. I haven't heard from him in months, and honestly, it's a relief. I hope he's moved on and found some peace. The scholarship fund continues to be a source of joy. We recently hosted a dinner for the recipients and their families. Hearing their stories and seeing their gratitude reminded me why I started this in the first place. One of the students even asked if she could intern at the real estate company next summer. It felt like everything was coming full circle. On a personal note, things with Alex have been progressing nicely. We've been dating for a few months now, and it's refreshing to be with someone who knew me before all this inheritance drama. He's supportive of my work with the business and the foundation, but he also reminds me to take time for myself. Last month, he surprised me with a weekend getaway to a little bed and breakfast in the countryside. It was the first time in ages that I truly relaxed. There are still moments when I miss Evelyn terribly. The other day, I found an old recipe card in one of her cookbooks, with notes scribbled in her handwriting. I cried for a good hour, but they were cathartic tears. I'm learning that grief doesn't have an expiration date, and it's okay to still feel that loss deeply. Running the business has taught me so much about myself. I've discovered strengths I didn't know I had and faced challenges I never anticipated. There are days when I feel overwhelmed, but then I'll remember something Evelyn used to say: you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. It always gives me the push I need to keep going. The Family Foundation has started a new project, renovating an old community center in an underprivileged neighborhood. It's been amazing to see how this work is bringing our family together. Even my aunt and uncle, who were initially skeptical of my leadership, have been enthusiastically involved in the planning. As I reflect on everything that's happened since Evelyn passed, I'm filled with a mix of emotions. There's still sadness, of course, but also gratitude, pride, and hope. I'm grateful for the legacy Evelyn left me, proud of how I've handled the challenges thrown my way, and hopeful for the future. I know there will be more obstacles ahead. Running a business, managing a foundation, navigating family dynamics, none of it is easy. But I feel prepared to face whatever comes my way. Evelyn gave me the tools I need, and I'm determined to use them to make a positive impact. To anyone out there facing similar family conflicts or unexpected responsibilities, I want to say, hang in there. It might feel overwhelming now, but with patience, perseverance, and a commitment to your values, you can get through it. And you might just surprise yourself with what you're capable of along the way. Thank you all for following my journey and for your support. It's meant more than you know. Here's to honoring the legacies of those we've lost by living our best lives, just as they would have wanted us to.